Hello folks, this is a quick walkthrough of how to complete today's activity. I'm going to show you step by step how I completed it, and you can do it then for yourself. This is a creative activity, so there are no right or wrong answers. As you can see, I've already started by deciding what rules I'm going to make for myself. So you make your own rules, and you have to use these words: measure, subdivision, and beat. You're going to see why later. But so far I've decided to put the measure in the high notes, the subdivision in the low, and the beat in the percussion for the first half of the song. And in the second half of the song, I will put the beat in the high notes, the measure in the low notes, and the subdivision in the percussion. Now it's time for me to start working. In the first half of the song, I'm putting the measure in the high notes. That means that there should be just one note in every shaded area. So that whole white box doesn't need to have many notes. It only has one note at the beginning of the measure, because that whole white area is a measure. So the beginning of every measure has a note. In the second half of the song, I use the high notes for the beat. So I put one high note on every beat. Next, I will put the subdivision in the low notes for the first half of the song. Next, I will put the measure in the low notes for the second half of the song. Next, I will put the beat in the percussion for the first half of the song. The beat is directly after every blue, thick line. So you can see I'm putting a note on every beat at the beginning of every one of those little squares. At the end, I cheat a little bit, and I put some subdivisions, because I know that I'm going to be doing all subdivisions at the end. So beat subdivision is every single square. So at the end, you can see here I'm filling in every square because I said I would be putting the subdivision in the percussion at the end. Let's review now. At the end, I have the subdivision in the percussion. That means that I have every square filled in. In the first half, I have the beat in the percussion, which means that I have the beginning of every square filled in. In the second half of the song, I have the measure in the low notes, which means there's just one note in the beginning of each shaded area. In the first half of the song, I have the subdivision in the low notes, which means that in the low notes, every square is filled in. In the second half, I have the beat in the high notes. That means that the first part of each square is filled in. In the first half, I have the measure in the high notes. So there's just one note at the beginning of each measure for the high notes. You can hear that by mixing and matching measures, beats, and subdivisions in my song, I create a song that is very interesting and has a lot of variety. You will do the same thing. First, you choose your own rules. So you can choose different parts of the song maker, the high notes, the low notes, or the percussion, to have different divisions of the time. So either the measure, or the beat, or the subdivision. You can mix and match those however you want. You do not have to use the same rules that I did. And then you're going to create a composition that follows those rules. And it should be pretty clear. It should be clear enough that someone who does not know your rules should be able to tell what your rules are just by listening. Finally, I better not forget, I need to save my composition, copy the link, and paste it into the Google slide. Have fun. I hope this is an interesting and creative activity, and I can't wait to see what you all come up with.